All right, so buckle up, everybody, because today we are taking a deep dive into something pretty fascinating from A Course in Miracles.
Ooh, sounds intriguing.
It is, it is. We're looking at Lesson 90,
Okay.
which is all about, well, it's actually about revisiting two earlier lessons, 79 and 80.
Hmm.
And, I don't know about you, but I often get this feeling like something's just off,
Oh, yeah.
but I can't quite put my finger on what it is that needs fixing.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that nagging sense that something needs to change, but you're not sure what.
Exactly, exactly. And that, my friend, is precisely where Lesson 79 comes in.
Ah, okay, our guide.
It really does feel like a helpful friend because this lesson is all about getting specific.
I like that.
It's basically saying, hey, let's figure out exactly what the problem is so we can actually start working towards a solution.
Makes sense. You can't solve a problem if you don't even know what it is, right?
Exactly. So it's like, instead of just feeling vaguely stressed or uneasy, ACIM encourages us to actually name the problem,
Mm.
to bring it into focus.
Right. So instead of just like a general feeling of, oh, something's not right, it's more like, okay, is it work? Is it a relationship? Is it that I haven't been taking care of myself? What is it specifically that's bothering me?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you so far. Name the problem.
Name the problem. Okay, but here's where things get kind of tricky.
Uh-oh.
Lesson 80 seems to completely contradict that idea.
Oh.
It tells us to recognize that our problems are already solved.
Wait, hold on. So lesson 79 is saying identify the problem, and then lesson 80 is like, but it's already solved.
Yep, you got it. How can both of those things be true at the same time?
That's a good question, and it really gets to the heart of how A Course in Miracles views reality.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
So ACIM has this core idea that on a spiritual level, everything is already whole and perfect.
Hmm.
The problems we experience in our everyday lives, those are kind of like illusions. They're not the ultimate reality.
Okay, so like the problems are real in our day-to-day experience,
Right.
but ultimately, they're not the real deal.
Exactly. It's kind of like realizing you've been stressing about a bad dream. The dream felt very real while you were in it, but when you wake up, you're like, oh, thank goodness it wasn't actually a threat.
Ah, okay. So is Lesson 80 basically saying, hey, remember, on a deeper level, everything is actually already okay?
You nailed it. It's about shifting our perspective from the problem to the solution, from fear to faith. And that shift can be incredibly powerful.
Okay, I'm starting to get the concept, but it still feels a bit mind-bending to hold both of those ideas at the same time.
Yeah,
Like, how do I acknowledge the problem, but also accept that it's already resolved?
I hear you. It's definitely a paradox, but that's what makes ASIM so thought-provoking. Think of it like this. Lesson 79 is about dealing with the practical, everyday stuff.
Okay, the nitty-gritty.
Exactly. Like, if your car has a flat tire, you don't just sit there and say, well, in ultimate reality, there are no flat tires.
Right.
You got to change the tire. That's lesson 79 in action. Take action in the physical world.
Okay, so that's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak.
Exactly. But how does lesson 80 fit in then?
Yeah, that's the part I'm still trying to wrap my head around.
I think of lesson 80 as that calm, peaceful space inside you, even when things around you feel chaotic.
Hmm.
It's like while you're changing the tire, you also know on a deeper level that everything is okay.
That's a really helpful analogy. I can see how holding both of those perspectives at the same time can be both challenging and potentially very freeing.
It is. It's about finding that balance between taking practical action and trusting in a higher power.
Right, because we can't just sit around and wait for miracles to happen.
Exactly. We have to do our part, but we can do it with a sense of peace and trust, knowing that we're not alone in this journey.
I love that. So we've got this concept, we've got this idea, but how do we actually integrate it into our daily lives?
Yeah, how do we move from theory to practice?
Exactly. It still feels a bit abstract to me.
I hear you. Journaling can be a really helpful tool here.
Oh, I love a good journaling session. Tell me more.
So try this. Write down any specific problem that's bothering you right now, and don't hold back, just get it all out on paper. And then right underneath that, write the affirmation from lesson 80.
Which is?
Let me recognize that my problems have been solved.
Okay. So we're literally putting those two seemingly opposite ideas right next to each other. What's the thinking behind that?
It's a way of training your mind to hold both perspectives at the same time. You're acknowledging the problem, but you're also reminding yourself that there's a bigger picture,
Okay.
a deeper level of peace and resolution. It's like you're saying, okay, this is happening, but I'm not letting it define me or steal my peace.
I see, I see.
It's a powerful way to shift your energy and focus on the solution rather than getting bogged down in the problem.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's not about ignoring the problem,
Yeah.
but about choosing how we respond to it.
Absolutely. And choosing to respond from a place of peace rather than panic can make a huge difference in how we experience and navigate challenges.
It's almost like we're shifting our perspective from one of fear to one of trust.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective can be incredibly powerful because it allows us to approach challenges with more clarity, wisdom, and even a sense of excitement for what we might learn and how we might grow.
That's so cool.
Mm.
So I think we've got a good grasp on the foundational concepts here, and I'm already feeling inspired to start putting them into practice. But I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear more about the practical applications of these lessons, how to really make them work in our everyday lives.
Me too. I think we've got some really interesting examples and insights to share, so let's dive into those after a quick break. Stay tuned.
Absolutely. We'll be right back with more deep dive goodness. Don't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're back, and we've been talking about this whole idea of recognizing problems, but then also kind of accepting that they're already solved.
Yeah, that's the thing about it, Gary. Could be in Miracles. It kind of like
Right?
turns everything upside down.
It does.
It really challenges the way we normally think about things.
Right.
Right. Right. And before the break, we were talking about those practical tools like journaling and using affirmations and stuff like that. But I was thinking, what if we
Yeah.
tried to apply those tools
Okay.
to like a real life situation?
I'm with you. Let's do it. Give me a situation.
Okay, let's say you're dealing with some kind of conflict at work.
Okay.
Like maybe somebody takes credit for your idea and you're feeling like really frustrated and resentful.
Oh, yeah. Been there.
Yeah, it's hard not to take that personally.
Totally. Totally. And so in that situation, Lesson 79, like we were talking about, would encourage you to really clearly identify the problem.
Oh, okay.
What is the problem?
Right.
My coworker took credit for my idea, and I'm feeling angry and undervalued.
Right, so we're not just like stewing in those vague emotions.
Right.
We're actually like, this is the thing.
Exactly.
This is the issue.
You're naming it, you're claiming it.
Okay, but then we bring in lesson 80.
Right. And the affirmation, let me recognize that my problems have been solved. How do we apply that when we're like, but really it's not solved?
Yeah, right. Like, how can I say my problems have been solved when I'm still feeling all this stuff?
Exactly.
It's not about denying those feelings, right? Like, it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel frustrated.
Right.
But it's about holding that awareness that on a deeper level,
Okay.
there's already a resolution.
So it's kind of like saying, okay, this situation sucks right now, but I trust that there's a bigger picture,
Yeah,
a higher solution that maybe I can't see yet.
exactly. And that trust can be so powerful
Right.
because it helps you detach from the intensity of the situation.
So instead of getting all caught up in the drama
Right.
and maybe reacting kind of impulsively,
Yeah,
we can like take a step back
exactly.
and
right.
respond with more clarity and wisdom.
Yeah, you're not letting the problem control you.
Right.
You're choosing to respond from a place of inner peace, even if the external situation hasn't fully resolved itself.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good point.
Right.
It's like we're taking back our power.
Yes,
We're not letting the problem dictate our emotions or our actions.
exactly. And that is so empowering because it reminds us that we always have a choice in how we respond to any given situation.
Yeah, this reminds me of something we were discussing earlier about how our thoughts create our reality.
Oh, yeah.
So if we're like constantly dwelling on the problem and like feeding those negative emotions, we're actually just attracting more of that energy into our experience.
Yeah, that's a huge principle.
Well, that's
Of course,
important.
in Miracles, our thoughts are powerful
They are.
and they shape our reality.
Yeah.
And so if we want to experience more peace and resolution, we need to shift our focus from the problem to the solution.
So instead of saying, this is a disaster, my career is ruined,
Right.
it's more like, okay, this is a challenge,
Yeah.
but I'm going to figure out a way to navigate it with grace and wisdom.
You're shifting your energy from fear and despair
Right.
to trust and empowerment.
That's huge. So, I mean, this is making a lot of sense to me, but I'm wondering, how does forgiveness fit into all of this? Usually I think of forgiveness as something we offer to other people,
Right.
not really as like a tool for problem solving.
That's such a great point, and forgiveness is absolutely crucial in
Okay.
in Miracles.
Okay.
And it's not just about forgiving others,
Okay.
but also about forgiving ourselves.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how in that scenario, like forgiving the coworker who took credit for your idea might be helpful.
Right.
But why is self-forgiveness so important?
Because we often get stuck in self-blame and judgment.
Mm-hmm.
We might think, I should have spoken up sooner, or I was so stupid to let that happen.
Right, right.
And those thoughts keep us trapped in negativity.
They do.
They prevent us from moving forward.
Okay, so is self-forgiveness basically like releasing those judgments and offering ourselves the same compassion and understanding that we would offer to a friend?
Yes. It's about recognizing that we're all human.
Right.
We all make mistakes, and that's okay.
Yeah, we don't have to be perfect.
We don't have to be perfect. Exactly.
It's like giving ourselves permission to be imperfect,
Yeah.
to learn and grow from our experiences.
I love that. And when we release that self-judgment,
Right,
we free up so much energy to focus on finding solutions
right.
and creating positive change.
So powerful.
And here's another interesting point. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning or accepting harmful behavior.
Right.
It's about releasing the negative energy and emotions that are keeping us stuck in pain and resentment.
So it's about reclaiming our peace and our power regardless of what's going on around us.
Yes, you got it.
That's huge because that means that we're no longer at the mercy of our circumstances or the actions of other people.
Right.
We actually have the power to choose peace,
Right.
forgiveness, and ultimately freedom.
And that is a game changer.
It is. This conversation is really opening my eyes to a whole new way of approaching challenges.
Okay.
It's not about denying the problem or pretending that everything's perfect.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the situation, but also remembering that there's a bigger picture, a higher solution
Yeah.
that's always available to us.
That is a powerful truth to hold on to,
It is.
especially when things feel really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder that we're not alone, that we have the strength and the wisdom within us to navigate any challenge that comes our way.
I love that. I'm feeling really inspired, but you know what? I think we need to take another quick break.
Okay.
And then when we come back, we'll explore even more of these like deeper aspects of A Course in Miracles
Sounds good.
and how they can help us live, more peaceful and fulfilling lives.
I'm ready.
All right, stay with us. Okay, so we're back and ready to kind of wrap up our exploration of A Course in Miracles, and specifically these like seemingly contradictory lessons about recognizing problems and then at the same time accepting that they're already solved.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack, isn't it? But it's really powerful stuff once you start to get it.
It is. It is. And before the break, we were talking about forgiveness, both for ourselves and others, and also how important it is to choose our thoughts carefully. But, I got to be honest. There's still this part of me that really struggles with this idea of problems being illusions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can that be true when I'm facing real-life difficulties like, losing a job or a health crisis or something like that?
I think it's a really common question, and it's something that a lot of people struggle with. Remember that analogy we used earlier about the flat tire?
Hmm.
The flat tire is a real problem in the physical world.
Oh, yeah.
But ACIM encourages us to see beyond that immediate problem to a deeper spiritual truth.
So it's like saying, okay, I acknowledge that this is a difficult situation,
Right.
but I also remember that there's a bigger picture,
Yeah.
a higher perspective, where things are actually already whole and perfect.
You got it. It's not about denying the reality of the situation, but it's about choosing to view it through a different lens. A lens of faith and trust that there's a higher purpose at play.
So instead of getting caught up in the fear and the despair of the situation, we can actually choose to focus on the possibility of a positive outcome, even if we can't see it yet.
Exactly. It's about shifting our energy from fear to faith, from worry to trust.
It kind of sounds like that's saying everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection there. ACIM encourages us to believe that even challenging experiences are ultimately opportunities for growth and learning.
So it's not about pretending that everything is, all rosy and perfect,
No.
but it's about choosing to see the potential for good, even in difficult situations.
Exactly. It's about cultivating an attitude of hope and possibility, even when things feel really tough.
I'm starting to see how this perspective can be so empowering, Instead of feeling like a victim of our circumstances, we can actually choose to see ourselves as co-creators of our reality.
That's a key takeaway from ACIM. We're not just passive recipients of whatever life throws at us. We have the power to choose our thoughts, our beliefs, and ultimately, our experiences.
So if we're facing a challenge, instead of saying, Why is this happening to me?
Right.
We might ask, what can I learn from this?
Yeah.
Or how can I grow from this experience?
Exactly. You're shifting from a mindset of blame and victimhood to one of empowerment and responsibility.
And that shift in perspective can make all the difference in how we navigate, the ups and downs of life.
Absolutely. It's not about denying the reality of challenges, but it's about choosing to approach them with a more positive and constructive mindset.
This has been such an enlightening conversation. I feel like I'm starting to really grasp the deeper meaning behind these seemingly paradoxical lessons.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Hmm.
The more we practice these principles, the more natural they become,
Yeah.
and the more peace and joy we experience in our lives.
So for our listeners who are feeling inspired and want to kind of explore A Course in Miracles further, where would you recommend they start?
The workbook for students is a great place to begin. It's a collection of 365 lessons, one for each day of the year, designed to guide you through a process of mental transformation.
So it's like a daily workout for the mind,
Exactly.
helping us shift our perception and
Yeah.
align with the principles of the Course.
Yes, and the lessons are short and practical, which makes them easy to integrate into your daily routine.
Well, this has been such an incredible deep dive into A Course in Miracles, and I know our listeners are walking away with so many valuable insights and a fresh perspective on how to approach life's challenges.
Remember, the journey of A Course in Miracles is about remembering who you truly are: peaceful, loving, and whole.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow for another deep dive.